It is.
Okay, let's. Hey, how are you, Gary? How you doing?
Hi. Hi, Senator.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for including
Thanks
us.
for doing this. Okay, you let me know, Jose, and I'm ready to go.
We're good, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this important discussion about small business in California and the resources and assistance available to all businesses in California amidst this COVID-19 outbreak. Before we get started, I wanted to remind folks listening to please reach out to my offices for more information. If you need any help with state agencies or any help with any kind of assistance, um, again, if you're on our webpage, you probably have that information available, but let me just cite it again. If you have a pencil and pen ready, for those in San Diego County, the number is 619-409-7690. For those in Imperial County, it's 760-335-3442. And then our capital office is 916-651-4040. And of course, you're all familiar with my website, www.scn.gov/HUESO. We have been hosting these teleconferences weekly to keep our constituents of the 40th Senate District informed, well, really all of San Diego and Imperial County and anyone else listening. This is for the benefit of all the public to keep you informed and up to date on the latest news and resources regarding the COVID-19 and all the state and regional assistance being made available to everyone that needs help. Last week, we discussed state assistance in a variety of areas touching on small business, but today's teleconference will be dedicated solely to the topic affecting our small business community in this current climate. As a former small business owner, I understand the enormous challenges that it is to run a business, first of all. And furthermore, in this current environment, it is now impossible for many people to run their businesses or even stay in business. It's difficult without facing a pandemic, and right now it's become even more difficult. I have even several people in my family that are being hurt very hard. Their businesses are being hurt very hard. One of my brothers just finished telling me today he expects that he's out of business for good, that there is no hope to revive this business even after the economy has improved. That's how bad it is for certain people. It's affecting my friends, my family, and definitely my constituents. So we want to do everything in our power to help our local businesses stay in business. And this is what this is for. So everyone that is here participating in this, I really want to thank you. Fortunately, the state of California and our federal government recognize that small businesses are the heartbeat of our nation's economy, and without them, our nation and our economy is doomed. And it's very important that us in government work very hard to provide the resources and the assistance necessary to help through this crisis. We are also very fortunate to have all of you joining us, and I'd like to introduce all of you to the public, beginning with the chairman of this California State Board of Equalization, Tony Vasquez. Then we're followed we're also joined by the new CEO of the South County Economic Development Center, Economic Development Center, Jim O'Callahan. We have Gary Gardner, he's the Chief Deputy to Vice Chair Mike Schaefer of the California State Board of Equalization, and Marquise Jackson, the Regional Director of the San Diego and Imperial Business Development Center Network. And thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Thank you for everything that you do for our state. Thank you for being part of helping our state through this very difficult time. We want to begin by giving our panelists an opportunity to give a short brief explanation of what they're working on and maybe their own comments if they'd like to make a few comments. We begin by introducing Mr. Vasquez, Tony Vasquez of the California State Board of Equalization. Thank you for joining us and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Actually, I'm honored to be here with you, for you to set this thing up, and along with all the panelists that will be speaking behind me, of course, Marquise, Jim, Gary, and Mike, Schaefer, who's actually the member that represents San Diego on the State Board of Equalization. I, as the chair, are responsible when we meet as for the whole state. But at the end of the day, the State Board of Equalization is broken up into 4 districts, and your local member for your district in San Diego is the Vice Chair, Mike Schaefer, and we're going to hear a little bit later here from his Chief of Staff, Gary Gardner, who will give you some of his input and hopefully share some of his resources that they might have locally that could hopefully assist the small businesses you have in your county and in your city. One of the key things I wanted to leave you, or at least to put out there before we get into any dialogue or discussion or Q&A, is to kind of give you a little breakdown of the BOE. The new Board of Equalization, the way it's been restructured, is primarily all property tax. But we do work and set policy for the 58 assessors we have in the state of California. And you have several in your area, and Gary, I'm sure will mention those, because as it affects the small businesses, like the senator mentioned earlier, that's going to be real key moving forward. And for example, in my district, I've had the opportunity to talk and to interact with especially the small businesses, and they're the ones that are going to have a tough time, I think, rebounding from this pandemic. We forget that, especially in the restaurant business, the profit margin for a lot of those businesses is very small. So now that they've been confronted with this pandemic, it's been real difficult. Even the ones that were allowed to, stay open, just for pickup service, that doesn't seem to generate enough of the income that they're going to need to survive, just to cover their expenses. So that's my biggest fear, and whatever we can do, especially at the state level, hopefully to assist your small businesses locally, by all means, feel free to reach out to myself here at on the state level, but then also your local rep, Mike Schaefer, and Gary, I'm sure will share some phone numbers with you a little bit later where he can be reached, and to see what we can do to provide some services. And, moving forward, I think the key thing is going to is to hear from some of the small businesses in terms of what they see and what they need to hopefully jumpstart their business once this is all said and done, and we can come back and hopefully come back to the state that we were in before, prior to this COVID-19. I think it's going to be so key to do whatever we can on our end, especially at the state level and at the local level, to assist these small businesses. Because like you mentioned, Senator, we forget how much these small businesses provide to the economy. They for the most part, they employ most of the employees in the state of California. It's all the small businesses that pretty much are the economic engine for the state. And we got to take that into consideration as we move forward. Next week, on Tuesday, at our meeting, which is scheduled already, actually, it was originally supposed to be in the 28th. I moved it up a week, specifically just to have the focus to talk about COVID-19 and the impacts it's having especially with the businesses, both residential and commercial properties, and whatever we can do. And we're hoping that we're going to hear from many of your folks, your residents, your business owners, and even some of the commercial industry that you might have in your county, in your city, that could use some assistance from us moving forward to hopefully jumpstart them to get their feet back on the ground, and hopefully bring back their employees and begin to really revive this economic engine we have in the state of California. That's going to be the challenge. but you're welcome to join us. And it's going to be, if you just look on our website, the BOE, and I'll make it a point before we close out to give you that connection. You're all welcome to join us on April the 21st at 10 a.m. It's also will be live similar to this, where you can weigh in and share your thoughts, your ideas, your suggestions, and any concerns you might have, especially for those small businesses that are struggling right now to survive. Because like was mentioned earlier, I think it's going to be a real challenge. And if we don't all weigh in, it's going to be difficult for many of these small businesses to come back and to go back online. So with that, I wanted to just thank all of those folks that, and especially your staff, Jose Alvarez from the Senator's office, who helped put this thing together. And I'm looking forward to the Q&A and whatever we can do to hopefully assist your businesses in your area.
Now, just so I can ask you to reiterate the BOE, if I'm a business and in particular I need assistance, what areas could you provide assistance with to businesses?
Well, one of the things that that's coming up for you specifically, let's say you're a small business, is that, you know, in terms of making your payments, you know, there's these quarterly payments that they have to make right now that are due. And one of them is coming up. Actually, it's due in April. Was actually due April the 1st, but you have until May 7th to make that payment. There is, while we don't have the authority to extend those deadlines, we are trying to weigh in on hopefully assisting you, the folks that are struggling and maybe are not able to make that payment on time. So if nothing else, if you're paying it, but paying it late, you don't get dinged with some of the penalties and the fines.
So if they intend to pay it late, if they call you, you could help them work through
Yes.
the process. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
And that's also on the property tax side as well.
Okay.
You know, for those folks, you know, even though the deadline just passed April 10th, for those that didn't make or weren't able to make that payment on April the 10th, they need to reach out. In that case, it's the tax collector. It's not the assessor, but the tax collector that you have locally in San Diego. They should reach out to that individual and let them know that you were impacted by the COVID-19. And from what I'm hearing, they're being pretty liberal and open to hearing the reasons and to try to accommodate those folks as well.
Okay. We're very fortunate. Thank you very much, Member Vasquez, Commissioner, I'm sorry. We're also very fortunate to be joined today by Jim O'Callahan, the CEO of the South County Economic Development Center. South County Economic Development Center has been so vital at attracting businesses and providing business assistance in the South Bay, San Diego. They've been vital at helping to create new businesses, create new employment. And so they have a wealth of experience in this area, especially in understanding the San Diego economic environment. So we wanted to have Jim join us today to also provide some comments and extend a hand to everyone. If anyone has needs any assistance from the South County EDC, we encourage that they call. So Mr. Callahan, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator. I really appreciate you putting this together. And as probably the newest member of the panel, it's been an amazing experience getting to meet these businesses under circumstances that are probably less than favorable, to say the least. One of the first things that our organization had been asked for was the hospitals were in need of chargers and other devices to help people communicate from the hospital. And all of our members and businesses in the surrounding cities reached out and donated hundreds upon hundreds of chargers, just as they were struggling themselves to help the hospitals be able to communicate out with the patient's needs. One of the things the EDC has done itself in the first couple of weeks that we've been focused on the COVID-19 response was we've reached out and put out a loan program for businesses. We've already issued 20 loans to restaurants in the South County area to help them sustaining operations. and keep, be able to continue food services for those, that weren't able to either get food delivered or just needed help with restaurant supply. Additionally, we've been working with local jurisdictions such as the city of San Diego and the city of Chula Vista on issuing their loan programs. So there's a number of funds that were available that the two cities have been able to loan out. We're in the process of helping them evaluate the applications and get money to the hands of the businesses most in need. Similar to the PPP, these loans were really designed to help maintain your employees during this time and keep the workforce moving. We're also in the process of conducting outreach to businesses to understand not only whether they are able to access benefits today, but what their needs will be in the coming days as we're trying to move past this and come out of this on the other side. We're encouraging businesses to seek assistance with the South County EDC. We're constantly updating our website to share all of the available benefits. So please take a look at that when you have a chance. It's southcountyedc.com. As we're becoming more aware of programs, we'll definitely share that. Additionally, the SBA has been a tremendous resource if you're able to take a look at their website as well. Over the coming weeks, we're hoping to be able to compile some really good data. We've talked with cities, we've talked with businesses, and we're trying to connect the resources where they're available. There's a number of civic groups that are really trying to prepare for what the next steps look like coming out of this. So we continue to partner with everybody on that. As Antonio had mentioned, these businesses are operating on slim margins at best and trying to get by. So when there is a need, we ask them to reach out to us. We're trying to connect them with partners, whether it be financial partners, whether it be community partners or other businesses that have a similar ability to work together. So I appreciate the invite to this, look forward to working with the group. And it's just been amazing to see how well South County and the County of San Diego have pulled together in this time.
Thank you very much. And we also have Gary Gardner. He's the Chief Deputy to Vice Chair Mike Schaefer. And from the California State Board of Equalization, he is actually our representative here in San Diego and Imperial Counties. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for putting this together. I hope we can get the word out to people, and if they're not watching now, they can watch a rebroadcast later. So I work for Mike Schaefer, as the Senator said, who is the elected representative on the California State Board of Equalization. He represents the 5 counties south of Los Angeles, where our chair, who spoke earlier, Antonio Vasquez, represents. We represent San Diego County, Imperial, Orange County, Riverside, and part of San Bernardino counties. So we're here to help you. We're working remotely, as you can see by my strips of paint that I'm trying to decide what goes on the wall here. I wish I had a cool backdrop like Jimmy Fallon, but I don't. Our staff is working remotely, so we're here to help you. And we've been getting calls from constituents. I want to say that, first of all, I'll give you our phone number and also our website. Our phone number is, it's 619-946-3791, 619-946-3791. And you can go to our website, which has other information, which is, it's BOE, that's B like boy, OE.ca.gov, and then / and then put Mike Schaefer's name, Schaefer, SCHAEFER. So BOE.ca.gov / Schaefer, SCHAEFER. So we have a full staff that's working. Cody Pedersen here in San Diego, Sue Blake in Sacramento, and Michelle Harrison up in Sacramento. And I'm his chief deputy. We've been hearing from constituents who are concerned about the deadline coming up for business personal property statements. And that may affect some of the people listening. So we're working with the chair's office, Mr. Vasquez, and the rest of the board next week when we meet on Tuesday to explore what we can do to help people who cannot file those statements on time. We heard from a constituent who represents companies who because they have multiple locations. For example, the Dual Corporation, they have 20 properties. They can't get that information in on time. So we actually are having a conversation with the governor's office tomorrow afternoon with the chair and our office, and we're going to be talking to them about what we can do to grant an extension, basically, so that people are not fined 10%. So we're exploring what we can do within the current guidelines and the law to be able to do that easily. Otherwise, people will have to put in a request that goes to the assessment appeals board in their county, and that will take time. And we are trying to avoid that, make it streamlined. So that's one of the things we're working on. But we're here to help you in whatever way we can help you. We can refer you to people, or we can connect you, and we've been doing some of that as well. But we want to help our constituents, and feel free to contact us at that phone number or our email address, or you can send me an email to my name, Gary.Gartner, Gartner at boe.ca.gov.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. And talking about cool backdrops, we have Marquise Jackson with us, the Regional Director of the San Diego and Imperial County Imperial Business Development Center Network. And your backdrop is what? Your office there in National City at the Southwestern College compound there?
Absolutely.
It looks great. Look at that. Southwestern College Higher Education Center. How'd you do that? We all want to know.
Our public information officer did it for us. I can't take all Lillian's credit. She just sent it to me and I wanted to post it up, but everyone can change their virtual background.
Well, thank you. And thanks for being here with us today.
Absolutely. So I'm going to share a PowerPoint and I'll make this PowerPoint available for everyone. I'll give it to Jose and he can distribute it out to everyone on the call in case you want to refer to it later. So the Small Business Development Center program, we're a program that's funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration. And also we receive grants from the California Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. And I want to give a quick shout out to Senator Hueso. He was one of those legislators who helped to provide funding to the SBDC program so that now in this time of need that we're here to provide the service. So, thanks to Senator Hueso for having the foresight to support us. And now, all that foresight is being used by his constituents to take advantage, hopefully, of our services. So Small Business Development Center, what we do is we provide expert level one-on-one business advising at no cost to people, coming to see us. We do this through hiring either current or existing or previous, so current or previous business owners or people who had executive level or high level experience, in the private sector. And so they understand the challenges that you're dealing with as a business owner. They've laughed, they've cried, they've failed, they've had achievements, and they could identify with you as your business goes through, those life cycles. So we could give you coaching to kind of help your business position itself. We also provide a lot of training. Our network covers the entire San Diego and Imperial County. Because of COVID-19, our training usually is in person, but now we're doing stuff via webinar. So you can access a lot of our information and advising and training by visiting our website at sdivsbdc.org. I'll also drop that below in the comments. Here in San Diego and Imperial Valley, we have about 8 different SBDC centers, so 8 locations that you can get help from. So no matter if you're here in South San Diego or you're there in El Centro or the city of Imperial, we're there for you. And although you can't come see us at this moment, we'll come to you virtually and give you the help you need. And some of the things we are helping businesses with, especially, in a response to COVID, is getting access to financing that your business needs to survive. We really study a lot of the programs, digest all of the information, and we'll sit down and walk you through and hold your hand so that you can, learn or know what we know, and it'll make it easier for you to get access to capital. We're also helping with helping business pivot, what they're doing. So we've helped a few breweries start to make hand sanitizer and change their business trajectory in these times of COVID. So if there's a creative way that we can help you either pivot your business or think about serving customers virtually, we have a lot of good and smart people who could do so. We also help with human resources. Just brought somebody on board to do that, and marketing. So we're a one-stop shop, for business services. So some of the things that we're recommending that businesses could do right now, because we know that you guys are hurting, because of the stay-at-home orders, we're not getting, many customers coming in your door. So we want you to reduce the amount of cash flow you got going out of your business. So the Federal Reserve Board has reached out to a lot of lenders and sent the memo and asked them to work with people who have loans to either restructure or defer the loan. So we're suggesting that if you have an existing SBA loan, go ahead and reach out. They're offering deferments for 6 months. Or if you have a loan through another institution, go ahead and reach out to them and let them know that you want to either seek to understand their process for deferment, or you want to restructure your loan so you're making only interest only payments, at least in a 6 month period, so you don't have as much cash going out. The state of California has also stepped up in a major way. They're allowing us to defer, or businesses to defer paying payroll taxes. Now you're still going to be on the hook for them, but they're working with you, to defer those. And there's a program that you can apply to I think defer up to $50,000 of sales taxes as well. So our state is stepping up in a major way. And then you could wait until, and it's April 16th anyway. I'm looking at my watch. You can wait until July 15th instead of April 15th to file your federal and state taxes, in case you as a business owner, there is some money you owe. You won't have to get that money going out until later. And one of the things we're also asking people to do is work with your landlord, right? We understand that they have bills they have to pay too. So it should be a conversation and not a expectation for your commercial property. If you contact them and let them know you're having trouble paying your lease, and why, have that conversation to see if there's something you all, could work out together so that you're not having the cash flow out of your business at this time. And most businesses I have talked to have, entered this conversation, and it's a, give and take, but, try to have it anyway. That way, if you do all of these things, at least you're not on the hook, for these liabilities right now. So there's a couple, federal programs, and I'll just, go and say it right up front. The EIDL and PPP are temporarily, on pause, but I want to educate you all on them, because the expectation is that, SBA is asking Congress to come to the table, provide more funding for these programs. So I definitely want to still let you know what's out there, so that, if they're refunded, you'll be able to be positioned to apply. So the economic injury disaster loan is available to businesses and nonprofits up to $2 million. And, it's at 3.75% for for-profit businesses, with terms up to 30 years. Once this program is available again, it is a really good program, very low interest rate, program. And I'm pretty sure I'll have some questions about people who have already applied. I'm glad to answer those. And so once this program becomes available again, you'll be able to use the capital for, to pay your fixed debts, to make payroll, any liabilities that you need to take care of, and other bills that would have been paid by your small business had COVID-19 not occurred. So this is a way to try to get capital in the hands of businesses. Just to get a little bit more information on the EIDL loan, and so it is direct from Treasury, so there's no lender involved. This portal that I have the link for is temporarily closed. SBA last night issued a press release saying they're running up to their limit as far as appropriation. So they're still processing people who did apply until they, fully run out of money. But they wanted to close it down so they wouldn't take any new applications. But if this process is to continue, this would be the way to get back into it. One thing that is very important right now for you all as small businesses and as supporters of small businesses is there are a lot of scams out there. So if you're ever looking for help, come see the programs that are funded, by the federal and the state governments, because there's no cost to apply. So don't let anybody tell you that you give them $500 or $2,000, you can't apply. It's totally free. So don't fall for that. Only trust, emails that you get in response to applications from a .gov account. Be very wary because we've seen people get taken advantage of. One part about the EIDL, again, if it comes back, is you could ask for an advance amount. That advance amount is up to $10,000. The way that they're calculating that advance is they'll give you $1,000 per employee. The good news about that advance is it's 100% forgivable, and you could actually take the advance and decline the loan in case you only need the advance amount, and you'll still be forgiven for that advance. If your business was involved, in a previous disaster like a wildfire, here in California, and you already have an existing SBA disaster loan, you still should be able, you still will be able to qualify for the EIDL once it's made live. And so the other program that's hanging out there, and this program last night was also, part of the SBA's press release, in that they're quickly running out of funds. By this time, I'm pretty sure all the money is gone. But I think they're lobbying Congress to really come back and contribute some funds to this program. The EIDL program was direct from Treasury. This program is through lenders. So if when this program becomes available again, if you want to apply, you have to work through your bank. A lot of banks are only working with their customers. So what SBA has done is onboard other institutions like PayPal, Square, Intuit, to try to help service the demand. But the link on this page is a way that you can find lenders. And locally here, if you reach out to me, I'll give you a list of the bankers that we know are participating in the PPP program and servicing non-customers. And basic qualifications for this program is either a nonprofit or for-profit business that has been in operation before February 15th of this year, and paid employees or paid yourself as the owner of the business via a wage or owner draw. Just more on the PPP program, that the loan apps are available until June 30th of this year. The amounts can exceed 10 million, and the loan will basically be it'll be your monthly average payroll, looking at the period January 1 of last year through January 31 of this year, times 2.5. And this payroll will include any wages, any state payroll taxes, insurance, group health, and retirement. So that's just a overview of the program. We're really hoping that these programs are available to come back. So I want to make sure I leave some time for some questions, so I can get you guys any other clarity or information that you need.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very nice presentation. What we're going to do is we have taken questions, and we're taking questions from some of our viewers here, and I'm going to ask those, and all of you are free to chime in. I will just basically call on who I think is the best person to answer the question, but I may be wrong. Some of you there may have a good answer or can expand on that answer, and please feel free to chime in at any time. The first question regards the Payment Protection Program. The PPP money from Phase 3 has run out as of this morning. What are the plans to make more funds available? Many banks also seem largely unprepared and still don't have the resources to process the applications. Could my bank's unpreparedness cause me to miss out on this aid? And if I can expand on that, there also, we're getting reports from people that many banks have interrupted loans for many different reasons and for different, if businesses want to buy property or fund property or anything else, or even business, they're not issuing loans. So, what can people in the business community expect in the next week or two, given these circumstances? And maybe Mr. Jackson, you can take up this answer for us. Anybody
It's
else
a
can add?
very good question. From what I'm hearing, SBA is asking Congress to step in and appropriate more funds for the PPP program because the demand is so large. So it's in the hands of Congress. What you can do here locally, and I'm going to do it too. So I'm not just giving you guys advice. That I'm reaching out to our congressional legislators and sharing stories with them of businesses that have been impacted and asking them to at least go wave our flag there in DC. It's kind of hard to know what they're going to come out with, but I'm going to speak on behalf of you guys and what I'm seeing to them. If they give SBA more money, SBA will lend it out. As far as lenders being unprepared, the PPP program is not even 2 weeks old. It'll be 2 weeks old tomorrow. So, basically, there were $349 billion that ran out in 12 days. So the demand was really crazy, and how it was introduced. It was not to throw anybody under the bus, but it was thrown together, and not all the information was had by people, and that's probably because of the we're all responding to the situation, and so basically SBA had to enroll a lot of lenders that were previously approved SBA lenders. Once this program, if it is refunded, like we all are expecting it to be, they've added new lenders to try to take the stress off the system. So I would encourage you to look up alternatives like PayPal, like Square, like QuickBooks, and there's also nonprofit lenders like CDC Small Business Finance in the industry that you'll be able to go to as well, because the banks are just flat out overwhelmed.
Thank you. And we in the South Bay operate in a binational economy. This question comes from a small business owner who has a binational business, and he says, or she, I didn't, says, I applied for the payroll protection program and was denied because one of my 4 employees lives in Tijuana. Is there any expected change on this point? And we know a lot of people live in Tijuana and commute to San Diego, and part of the reason is housing is very expensive here, but that doesn't seem to me a good reason to deny a business who has a legitimate business, who has employees. Why this exception? And does that mean that a lot of these businesses that have these circumstances are being denied for businesses? And was that a part of the noticing of this program? This just seems very odd to me. I thought I'd ask, and maybe Mr. Jackson or Mr. O'Callahan, if you have the answer to this.
So the way that they laid out the interim rule on the PPP program, there were 2 exclusions that were laid out. One was you couldn't claim wages over $100,000 per employee, and the second exclusion being employers that use employees whose primary residence is not in the U.S., they're not eligible. So I agree with you. I think it's ridiculous. I'll just say that because they don't take into account our binational economy here in San Diego. But the lender was just using the rules that was laid out by the SBA. And so that's why it was denied. When the program becomes available, someone at the SBDC could work with you to make sure that you're able to recalculate that with only your employees who have a primary residence here, and those employees will be the ones that you get the loan to cover their salaries. And unfortunately, the way the rules are set out, it doesn't cover employees whose primary residence isn't in the U.S.
If California develops a program, I really doubt we'll put that criteria, but we'll definitely look out for that. And if the federal government comes up with a new program, we'll definitely reach out to our border congressional caucus and our congressman Juan Vargas on working to make sure that that is not included in the next batch of support. Thank you very much. We have another question from one of our constituents that says, I have a home-based business, or I've had a home-based business for 30 years. Why can't home-based businesses apply for grants or loans through the county or through the federal government for that? And I think the question is through the federal government. And maybe Mr. O'Callaghan with the South County EDC can answer that.
Yeah, again, much like what Mr. Jackson said, the criteria was set out. Unfortunately, it was designed, I mean, this specific clause is designed to really get as much money out to support as many jobs as possible. And, we agree that home-based businesses are an important part of the economy. Unfortunately, to maximize the limited resources the government had and the county had, they had to make a decision which business models to support first. As more resources become available, we will continue to work with SBDC, SBA, everybody to try and make as many resources available to every type of business out there. So.
Thank you. And this question we received in Spanish and we translated it in English. The question is, I'm the sole proprietor of a business and I receive and file 1099 forms. I pay all my business taxes and I pay all my business licenses and fees. I've been trying to apply for the payment protection program, but I don't have a business bank account, so no bank has been able to help me. What are my options? And maybe Mr. Jackson, you can answer this if you can.
Yeah, I can. That's a good question. When the PPP originally rolled out, it was rolled out for people to apply through their primary banks, which being an independent contractor, a cell phone person, it wasn't originally designed that way. But now they are allowing, sole proprietors and independent contractors to apply. And if the program reopens, you'll be able to go through like a PayPal, Intuit, a QuickBooks, or a company like Lendistry to submit a loan application, so you don't have to go through a bank. And again, I'll drop my email in the chat once that program comes available. Shoot me an email, and I'll connect you with one of our business advisors, and they can sit down and help you prepare.
Para las personas que no tenían cuenta de banco y que aplicaron para el programa federal para asistencia a las empresas, les pedimos que se comuniquen con nosotros para ver que en la siguiente ronda se espera que ese requisito no aplique a todas las empresas. Entonces, yo siempre le digo a la gente, pues lo mejor es tener una cuenta de banco. Eso es algo más seguro, pero si es su plan empresarial, vamos a procurar y trabajar para también incluir esas personas que tienen empresas sin cuenta bancaria. And we'll move on to our next question, number 5. What type of aid is available for independent contractors who do not qualify for the state's unemployment insurance? And maybe I can answer that. Independent contractors, business owners, and self-employed individuals currently will be able to collect unemployment benefits under a new program established by the CARES Act. The the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, PWA, will provide unemployment insurance to independent contractors and all those workers not covered by regular unemployment insurance. Workers will be eligible for retroactive benefits and can access benefits for a maximum of 39 weeks. We've been informed that if there has been a delay in processing that, if somebody can demonstrate that they were affected by this 3 weeks prior or even 4 weeks prior, that those payments will be retroactive. These workers will receive unemployment insurance from the state of California, and from now until July 31st, $600 additionally from the federal government as part of the CARES Act. EDD will start accepting online applications beginning on Tuesday, April 28th. So we make sure you have that date and are ready to apply. Once the applications are processed, the first payment will be received within 2 days if you have an existing EDD debit card. If you have to receive one in the mail, it would take 4 to 7 days to receive the payment. So one way or another, that would be the fastest way they could get relief, but that seems reasonable to me. But if anybody needs help with that, I would begin reaching out so that when that date comes, you're prepared.
Just to add on, Senator, that application will be available on the EDD's website, and the application and the tracking of your the application processing is going to be accessible on the website.
Thank you. I also want to mention that in these next few weeks, the Senate will and the legislature, together with the governor, will be working very hard to hold informational hearings related to the California budget. Our budget is due June 15th. I don't see a delay in us approving that budget, but I do expect that our budget will look a lot different than the budget that was introduced at the beginning of this year. This will provide everybody an opportunity to weigh in on how the state can support businesses in every which way. We are getting requests from businesses in different areas on how the state can provide support. I want everybody to know that we're listening to you. Please feel free to call my office if there are things specific to your business that you need the state to back you with. That's why we're here. We're doing this to send out a message that we're listening to you and we want to act to help you stay in business, anything that we can do. We had a meeting with the governor yesterday and the day before. We've been meeting with the governor at least for the last 2 days to share our concerns on many different parts of the response to this. If any of those businesses out there can help the state source protective equipment, let me tell you, right now, this is a particular good area to enter into if you're in business. The state is trying to source, every single business in California is trying to source protective equipment, any kind of sanitizers, masks, suits. If you can manufacture this equipment, the state will buy it, businesses will buy it, hospitals will buy it. We're working very hard to supply this stuff. The only way we're going to get out of this pandemic if people can be made safe. If we can't get to them basic things, masks, protective equipment, if we can't provide that to our healthcare professionals, our public safety, we'll never see an end to this crisis. So we need the help of the business community. And if you are looking at starting a business in this area, I'm telling you, there'll be a lot of support for you to do so. And there'll be a lot of support for you to gain a financial footing through the purchases that all these organizations will make. I can't think of anything other than a cure to the COVID-19. I don't see anything more important than us sourcing this protective equipment. Unfortunately, we're out of time, and it's time for us to end our conference here. But I wanted to ask our panel, thank you for joining us, but are there any closing comments that anybody would like to make, or any expanded comments that you want to make prior to us going offline here? Anyone?
I will start just just Senator, I just wanted to thank you again for putting this thing together. And when I had mentioned earlier, especially for the businesses that might be listening and other folks that you may know that maybe didn't get a chance to listen in and may be interested in participating in our state board meeting coming up this Tuesday, by all means, just log on to our website at boe.ca.gov and you can click on board meetings and it'll give you all the specifics and how to connect, and feel free to weigh in and give your thoughts.
Thank you very much, and that's very good to know. We will be having another teleconference next week. As long as people continue to ask for information, we will be here to provide that information and assistance. If you joined this call late or joined this webinar late, this teleconference will be on our webpage, so you can review it later or at another day as time permits. That way you can have access to the information. I think the most important thing that you should know is that we're here to serve you. All of us are here at your service. Should you need anything at all, please call us. We want to make sure that you stay in business. We want to make sure that every resource that's available becomes accessible to you any which way we can. Let us work for you to make sure you get access to these resources. Please reach out to my offices for more information. And we also post updates every day. Things are changing every day with this crisis. So every day the state or the federal government or the local government takes action. We want to make sure you're up to date on all the latest new information. So log on to any one of our web pages, and I know all of us are providing that information. Again, also call us. Please call us if there is anything that we can do to serve you. And for those, I'm going to mention the numbers again. For those in San Diego County, the number is 619-409-7690. For those in Imperial County, it's 760-335-3442. And then in our capital office, it's 916-651-4040. Thank you much. Thank you very much to everyone. And please, as much as possible, stay home, stay safe, and take